Someone says something about you in class. Maybe it's a joke at your expense. Maybe a teacher singles you out. Maybe a friend makes a comment that hits harder than it should. And before you even think about it, your face changes, your chest tightens, you snap back, you say something you regret. Or worse, you go completely silent and spend the next 4 hours replaying it in your head, imagining what you should have said. You react every single time. And then you look at that one student, the one who stays calm no matter what happens. Someone insults them? Nothing. They get a bad grade? Nothing. Drama explodes around them. They just watch. This is not about being emotionless. This is not about pretending nothing hurts. This is about understanding why you keep losing your power every time you react, and what the students who seem untouchable are actually doing differently. They do not flinch. They do not explain themselves. They do not chase validation. And you wonder how. How do they just not care? Here's the thing. They do care. They just do not react. And that difference between reacting and not reacting is the single most powerful social skill you will ever learn as a student. Stay with me till the end. This will change how you move through every room you walk into. Let me ask you something honestly. How many times this week did you lose control of your emotions in a situation that didn't even deserve your energy? Someone left you on scene and you spiraled. A classmate got praise you thought you deserved and your mood crashed. A small comment ruined your entire day. And the worst part is, you know it's happening. You're aware of it, but you still cannot stop it. That's because you're operating on autopilot. Your brain has been trained over years to react instantly to every emotional trigger. Not because you're weak, but because nobody ever taught you the difference between a reaction and a response. A reaction is instant, it's emotional, it's unfiltered. It comes from the part of your brain that thinks everything is a threat. A response is chosen, it's delayed, it's controlled. It comes from the part of your brain that actually thinks clearly. Most students live their entire lives reacting to grades, to people, to comments, to social media, to everything. And then they wonder why they always feel drained, why they feel like they're constantly putting out fires, why their emotions control them instead of the other way around. This is not a discipline problem. This is not a personality flaw. This is a pattern. And patterns can be broken, but only if you understand the system behind them. Here's the first thing powerful students understand that you do not. Not everything deserves a response. Read that again. Not everything deserves a response. Most students treat every situation with the same level of emotional investment. A teacher's rude comment gets the same energy as a life-changing failure. A friend's sarcastic joke gets the same emotional weight as a genuine betrayal. Everything feels equally urgent. Everything feels equally personal. And that's where you lose your power. The students who seem untouchable have learned something very simple. They run every situation through a mental filter before reacting, and that filter has one question. Does this actually matter to my life in 7 days? Not 7 months, not 7 years, 7 days. If someone calls you something in the hallway, will it matter next week? If a classmate says something slick in a group chat, will you even remember it in 7 days? Almost always the answer is no. But in the moment, your brain tricks you into thinking it's everything. This is the first mistake. You give equal emotional energy to unequal situations. Powerful students do not have more control than you. They just have a better filter. They decide what gets their energy before their emotions decide for them. That one shift changes everything. The second thing powerful students understand is the delay, and this is where it gets interesting. When something triggers you, your brain enters what you can think of as a 3-second window. In those 3 seconds, your body is flooded with emotion. Your heart rate spikes, your jaw tightens, your thoughts start racing, and your mouth wants to open before your brain has finished processing. Every regrettable thing you have ever said happened in those 3 seconds. Every argument that went too far, every text you wish you could unsend, every moment where you showed someone they had power over you, all of it happened because you acted inside that window. Powerful students have trained themselves to do one thing differently. They pause. Not for minutes, not for hours, just long enough for the emotional wave to pass. 3 seconds of silence, one deep breath, looking away for a moment. That's it. That's the entire strategy. It sounds almost too simple to work, but think about every time you reacted badly. If you had waited just a few seconds more, would you have said the same thing? Almost never. Here's the common mistake. Students think pausing makes them look weak, like they couldn't come up with a response. But the opposite is true. The person who pauses controls the room. The person who reacts instantly gives their control away. Silence after a provocation is not weakness, it's dominance. The third principle is the one nobody talks about, and it's probably the most important one. Powerful students never react because they have stopped tying their identity to other people's opinions. Let me explain what that means with something you deal with every single day. Think about what happens when you post something on your story. You keep checking who viewed it, who didn't, how many likes. If someone you expected to react didn't, your mood dips. If someone you don't even like viewed it, you feel weirdly validated. Your entire emotional state is being controlled by strangers on a screen. That's borrowed identity. Now think about the student who doesn't react when someone insults them. What are they really doing? They're saying, "Your words cannot reach me because I already know who I am. Your opinion is just noise. It has no power here." That's not arrogance, that's identity security. Here's a simple way to understand it. Imagine your self-worth is a phone battery. Most students have their phone plugged in to everyone else's charger. A compliment gives them 10%, a criticism drains 20%. They're constantly searching for the next socket, the next validation, the next person to tell them they're okay. Powerful students have their own generator. They don't need to plug in to anyone. They produce their own worth from the inside. So when someone tries to drain them, nothing happens. The battery stays full. Most students have a fragile sense of self. Their sense of worth depends on external feedback. A compliment makes their whole week. A criticism destroys their whole month. They're constantly performing for approval. And when someone threatens that approval, they panic and react. Think about the last time someone didn't reply to your text. What happened inside you? Did you immediately think, did I say something wrong? Did you check your phone 17 times? Did you craft the perfect follow-up message to seem casual, but also get their attention back? That's borrowed identity in action. Your peace depended on their response. Powerful students have built their identity from the inside. Their sense of worth isn't borrowed from comments and likes and validation. It's built from knowing what they stand for and refusing to let anyone destabilize that. When your identity is solid, nothing can shake you. When it's borrowed, everything shakes you. And here's the best part. This is not something you're born with. It's built, one decision at a time. One moment where you choose not to check your phone. One moment where you choose not to explain yourself. One moment where you let someone's comment just sit there without picking it up. That's how you build the generator. Here's the science behind why this works, and I am going to make it so simple you will never forget it. Your brain has 2 systems running at the same time. Think of them as 2 different characters inside your head. The first character is your inner caveman. Let us call him Panic Paul. Paul has been inside your brain for thousands of years. His only job is to keep you alive. When a tiger jumped at your ancestors, Paul made them run without thinking. He made their heart race. He flooded their body with adrenaline. He saved their lives. Paul does not think. He just reacts, and he reacts fast. The second character is your inner philosopher. Let us call her Calm Clara. Clara is the logical part of your brain. She thinks before she acts. She considers consequences. She helps you make decisions you will not regret later. But here's the problem. Clara is slow. She takes a few seconds to wake up and join the conversation. Paul, on the other hand, is instant. Now here's what happens when someone disrespects you. Paul hears it first, and Paul thinks everything is a tiger. A rude comment? Tiger. A sarcastic joke? Tiger. Someone left you on scene? Definitely a tiger. So Paul screams at you to react immediately. Fight or flight. Your heart races. Your jaw tightens. Your mouth wants to open. That is why you snap back before thinking. That is why you send that text you regret. That is why your emotions control you. Paul won again. But here's what powerful students have learned. Paul only stays in control for about 3 seconds. If you can survive those 3 seconds without acting, Clara wakes up. Clara looks at the situation and says, "Wait, this is not a tiger. This is just a guy making a stupid comment. We do not need to fight this." The pause is literally just giving Clara enough time to get to the meeting. Think of it like this. Imagine you're driving and your friend suddenly screams, "Stop!" Your foot slams the brake instantly. That's Paul. That's reaction. Now imagine you see a yellow light ahead. You have time to decide. Do I stop or keep going? You think for a second, then choose. That's Clara. That's response. Most students treat every yellow light like a sudden scream. They slam the brakes on everything. They react to every comment, every situation, every small thing like their life depends on it. Powerful students have learned to recognize the difference. They know when something is actually an emergency and when it's just noise. Every time you pause, every time you wait those 3 seconds, you are doing something powerful. You are physically strengthening the connection between the trigger and your thinking brain. You are building a new road in your mind. The old road went straight from trigger to reaction. The new road goes trigger, pause, choice, response. The more you use the new road, the stronger it gets. Eventually, Clara starts showing up faster. Eventually, you don't even need to think about the pause. It becomes automatic. That is not fake confidence. That is rewired confidence. That is your brain actually changing because of the choices you make. So next time you feel that tightness in your chest, that heat in your face, the urge to say something you will regret, remember Paul and Clara. Remember that Paul is just a caveman who thinks everything is a tiger, and Clara is the only one who can drive the car. Now, before you go and try to become completely emotionless, let me stop you, because that is the trap most students fall into. They watch a video like this and think, okay, so I need to never show emotion. I need to become cold. I need to become a robot. No, that is not what this is about. Suppressing emotions is not the same as managing them. People who suppress everything eventually explode. That is not power. That is a ticking bomb. The goal is not to feel nothing. The goal is to choose what gets your energy. There's a massive difference. You can feel hurt and still not react from that hurt. You can feel angry and still not let that anger make your decisions. Feeling the emotion is human. Being controlled by it is the problem. And stop comparing yourself to people who seem naturally calm. They were not born that way. They practiced. They failed. They reacted badly 100 times before they learned not to. You are not behind. You are just starting. So here's your framework. Step 1, filter. Ask yourself, does this matter in 7 days? If no, move on. Step 2, delay. Pause for 3 seconds before you say or do anything emotional. Step 3, anchor. Build your identity from inside so external opinions lose their power over you. Filter, delay, anchor. That's your system. I want you to try something this week, just this week. The next time someone says something that makes your chest tighten and your jaw clench, I want you to do nothing. Not because you're scared, not because you have no comeback, but because you are choosing not to give them your power. Just once. See how it feels. See how the room shifts when you don't react. See how confused people get when they throw something at you and it doesn't land. That moment right there is where everything changes. Because here's what nobody tells you. The most powerful person in any room is not the loudest. It is not the funniest. It is not the one with the best comebacks. It is the one who is completely unbothered. The one who moves like nothing can touch them. That energy is rare. And when you carry it, people notice. Teachers notice. Friends notice. Everyone around you starts treating you differently. Not because you demanded respect, but because you stopped begging for it. You are not weak for reacting in the past. You just didn't know there was another way. Now you do. So start today. Filter, delay, anchor. Build yourself from the inside and watch how the outside starts changing on its own. If this hit different for you, go ahead and subscribe. Not because I'm asking you to, but because this is the kind of content that will keep showing up when you need it most. I'll see you in the next one.